Have you ever stood in the grocery store aisle, looked down at a loaf of whole wheat bread or a carton of almond milk, and wondered if you were making a healthy choice? Or maybe you felt a spike of guilt because your cart was filled with frozen vegetables, canned beans, and a box of pasta. The internet tells us to avoid processed foods at all costs, to shop only at the perimeter of the grocery store, and eat like our ancestors did. But is this advice actually grounded in science, or is it just another wave of wellness culture anxiety? Welcome to Beyond the Label. I'm your host, and today we're stripping away the fear and look at the actual science. In this first part of our two-part series, we're going to define what food processing actually means, explore how food science categorizes what we eat, and understand why food processing is not just a modern convenience, but a cornerstone to human civilization. To understand processed food, we first have to define the word itself. Scientifically speaking, food processing is simply any deliberate change in a food that occurs before it is available for us to eat. It can be as simple as washing, peeling, cutting, heating, pasteurizing, canning, freezing, drying, mixing, or packaging. By this definition, nearly every single food item we consume is processed in some way. Unless you're pulling a raw apple directly from a tree branch and eating it right there, you are consuming processed food. Even that raw apple was likely washed, sorted, and chilled before it reached your hands, which are all forms of minimal processing. To help scientists, policymakers, and consumers make sense of the varying levels of modification, researchers at the University of Sao Paulo in Brazil developed a system called Nova Food Classification System. Now widely recognized by global health organizations like the World Health Organization and the Food Agriculture Organization, Nova does not group foods by their nutrient content, such as fats, sugar, or protein. Instead, it groups them into 4 distinct categories based on the extent and purpose of the physical, chemical, and biological processes they undergo. The first category in the NOVA food system is unrecognized or minimally processed foods. Unprocessed foods are the natural parts of plants and animals, such as seeds, fruits, leaves, stems, roots, mussels, eggs, and milk. Minimally processed foods are those natural foods altered by simple processes designed to preserve them, make them suitable for storage, or make them safe to consume. This includes processes like removing inedible parts, drying, crushing, grinding, filtering, roasting, boiling, pasteurization, chilling, freezing, and vacuum packaging. Think of plain rolled oats, frozen broccoli florets, dry brown rice, pasteurized whole milk, or ground black pepper. No ingredients like salt, sugar, oils, or fats have been added to the food in this stage. The second category is processed culinary ingredients. These are substances obtained directly from Group 1 foods or from nature by processes like pressing, refining, grinding, and milling. We do not typically eat these substances by themselves. Instead, we use them in kitchens to prepare, season, and cook Group 1 foods. This category includes olive oil, butter, table salt, white sugar, maple syrup, and honey. Their primary purpose is to help us turn raw ingredients into delicious home-cooked meals. The third category is processed foods. These are relatively simple products made by adding processed culinary ingredients, like sugar, salt, or oil, to minimally processed foods. Most processed foods have 2 or 3 ingredients and are easily recognizable and are slightly modified versions of their original state. The main purpose of this processing is to preserve the food so it lasts longer, or to enhance its taste. Examples include canned black beans with added salt, freshly baked bread made from wheat flour, water, yeast, and salt, canned tuna and oil, and simple cheeses. These foods are still structurally whole, but they have been enhanced for preservation and flavor. The fourth and final category is ultra-processed foods. These are industrial formulations typically made of 5 or more ingredients. They often contain substances not commonly used in home cooking, such as hydrogenated oils, modified starches, bulking agents, and additives designed to mimic sensory qualities of natural foods, like artificial flavors, colors, and emulsifiers. Examples include sodas, packaged sweet or savory snacks, reconstructed meat products like hot dogs and chicken nuggets, instant soups, and highly sweetened breakfast cereals. While the NOVA system is incredibly useful for research, many food scientists and nutritional organizations, including the American Society for Nutrition, point out it has limitations. The system focuses heavily on the level of processing rather than the nutritional value of the final product. Because of this, it can sometimes group highly nutritious, accessible foods in the same category as treats. For instance, a fortified, high-fiber, low-sugar breakfast cereal or a store-bought whole wheat bread might technically be classified as ultra-processed due to the added vitamins, minerals, and minor emulsifiers. Yet, these foods can be affordable, nutrient-dense cornerstones of a healthy diet. This brings us to a crucial point. Why do we process food in the first place? Historically, food processing was born out of absolute necessity. For thousands of years, human survival depended on our ability to preserve food after a harvest or hunt. Without processing, our ancestors would have faced starvation during winters, droughts, or long journeys. Techniques like salting meat, drying fruits, fermenting milk into cheese, and baking grains into bread are ancient forms of food processing that allowed human civilizations to grow and thrive. In the modern world, food processing serves several critical functions. The first is food safety and pathogen control. Pathogens like E. coli, Salmonella, and Listeria can cause severe, sometimes life-threatening foodborne illnesses. Pasteurization, which involves heating liquids like milk and juice to a specific temperature for a set time, destroys harmful bacteria without significantly altering the taste or nutritional value. Thermal processing and canning can create sterile environments that prevent the growth of bacteria. Without these processing techniques, our food supply would be vastly more dangerous. The second reason is shelf life and reduction of food waste. Fresh produce and raw meats spoil quickly due to enzymic reactions and microbial growth. Freezing vegetables at their peak ripeness stops these degradation processes, locking in nutrients and preventing spoilage. This allows us to enjoy nutritious food year-round regardless of regional growing seasons, while significantly reducing the amount of food that rots and goes to waste in our homes and supply chains. The third reason is affordability. Fresh, perishable ingredients can be expensive and require frequent trips to the grocery store. Canned, frozen, and shelf-stable foods are often much more economical, making nutrition accessible to individuals living on tight budgets or in areas without easy access to fresh market grocers. Despite these clear benefits, several persistent myths surround processed foods. The most common myth is that all processed foods are inherently unhealthy. As we have seen, this is simply not true. Frozen unsweetened berries and plain Greek yogurt, canned tomatoes, and natural peanut butter are all processed, yet they're packed with essential nutrients and are excellent choices for a health-promoting diet. How did we get here? How did processed foods become such massive dominant forces in our modern diets? The answer lies in the dramatic social and industrial shifts of the late 19th and 20th centuries. The Industrial Revolution drew millions of people away from the agricultural lives into rapidly growing cities, far removed from the sources of their food. This urbanization created an urgent demand for foods that could be transported long distances, stored for extended periods without spoiling, and sold at affordable prices. During World War I and World War II, governments heavily invested in food science to develop shelf-stable, lightweight, and nutrient-dense rations for soldiers. Technologies like dehydration, freeze-drying, and advanced canning were perfected in military laboratories. When these wars ended, food corporations adapted these wartime technologies to create a flood of new, highly convenient consumer products for post-war domestic market. Today, we find ourselves in an environment where processed foods are more accessible, affordable, and heavily marketed than ever before. But as these convenient foods have taken center stage, scientific research begun to raise critical questions about how our diet, heavily dominant in ultra-processed foods, affect our long-term health. Are these foods truly as dangerous as some headlines suggest? What actually happens to our bodies when we consume them regularly? And how do we separate genuine health concerns from overhyped media scares? In our next episode, we're going to dive deep into these exact questions. We will explore the latest clinical evidence on ultra-processed foods, unpack the science behind common food additives and emulsifiers and preservatives, and learn how to read nutrition labels like a pro so you can make informed, confident food choices without the stress. Thank you for tuning into episode 10 of Beyond the Loop. We will see you next episode where we go beyond the marketing claims to uncover the truth on what is on your plate.